the season opener. Tomorrow, in just some hours, your Crimson Tide will take to Bryant-Denny Stadium, 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff in Tuscaloosa to open the season under the LED lighting feature against Utah State. You've made it to the offseason. You made it through. Football returns tomorrow night. And with that being said, you're rocking and rolling right here on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show, the hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. In my own words, helping you guys to join us on today. We're bringing you the show from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, hit that subscribe button, smash subscribe right now so that you miss absolutely nothing on your favorite program. All the fun, all the entertainment, all the information on Bama. Get that right here. Get all of your friends, family members, casual fans, die-hard Bama fans too. Subscribe, because if you love the content, they will also. Don't forget to leave a like as well. Give us that thumbs up. Run those likes up past the moon there. Make us your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Turn all of those notifications on. Hit that little bell so that way you can get all of the material right here. We got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. But folks, we got a great one. You know why? Locker Drop is back. Everybody's favorite game, the Locker Drop game. That six-pack of questions discussing your Crimson Tide. We're going to get into that later in the show to get us set for the season opener against Utah State. We want to hear from you tonight, the passionate fans of Bama football. Don't let tonight go by without letting your voice be made known. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. That's 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in to let your voice be heard. The daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat go. Appreciate the support coming from all of you. But without further ado, folks, again, to first topic of the conversation, John Ivory, and that being on the keys for Alabama, keys to victory. What do the Crimson Tide, or what does Alabama have to do to not only handle Utah State, but impose its will, show its dominance, and get this 2022 campaign off to a great start, especially at home in the friendly confines of Bryant-Denny, in front of your home crowd? And I understand Coach Saban spoke on Thursday on Hey Coach about showing that respect to Utah State, and he's right about that. You know, the Aggies went 11-3 last year. They beat two Pac-12 programs. They averaged 32 points a game a season ago. They returned talent back on offense and defense. So Utah State, and I believe they were a top 25 team a season ago to finish the season. So this is a team that deserves that respect, even though at times we look at, okay, this is not a Wisconsin, this is not a Virginia Tech, this is not a West Virginia, this is not a USC, this is not a Michigan, this is not a Clemson, this is not a traditional power program that we're used to seeing Alabama open up the season with during the years. But Utah State is a team that garners that respect. But as we look at here now, the keys to victory for the Crimson Tide and getting this thing set up to the right start. Number one, Bama's offensive line has got to show it's improved. There's been a lot of hype about this offensive line, a lot of positive talk, and for obvious reasons. I mean, Eric Wolford is coming here from Kentucky. He's brought this tough, mean, rugged, physical, dominant, hat-on-a-hat mentality that everybody on this offensive line has bought into. And it's great that they bought into it, right? But now we want to see, first game out the gate, under the lights, how improved is this unit from left to right? From Tyler Steen, left tackle, Kendall Randolph, left guard, Darian Dow, court center, Emil Ekiyor, right guard, J.C. Latham, right tackle. How improved is this group? This group gave up 39 sacks to Bryce Young a season ago. This group, there were moments where it could not line up and run the football the way it wanted to. There were moments last year, right tackle was a complete revolving door, and the center position where Alabama did not get that right to the second half of the Iron Bowl where it went to Seth McLaughlin. But how improved is this group for real? Nick Saban has talked a lot about Eric Wolford all offseason. Of all the assistant coaches, of all the new guys Bama brought in, Eric Wolford has been the most involved in conversations from the mouth of Coach Saban. How improved is this offensive line? We're going to see this firsthand against Utah State that's got some guys that can rush the passer, including one Byron Vaughns, who had 6 sacks a season ago. So we're going to see how improved this offensive line is out the gate and open up those run lanes and also protecting Bryce Young. Number 2, key to victory is going to be, this Bama defense has got to make a statement in this game. You don't see Utah State as a statement game, obviously, but when you look at Texas the very next week and the SEC schedule down the road, this game against Utah State plays a pivotal role because Alabama will have a chance in the evening to show the college football masses defensively, we are the real deal. We got the number 1 defense in the country. You don't want to mess with it. Bama's got a chance to show this up close, up front, and personal tomorrow night. There's been a lot of hypes around this defense. You got players saying this could be the best defense Nick Saban has ever had. You got fans and consumers of college football. This could be the best defense Saban has ever had. There's a lot of hype surrounding this defense. I feel like for the first time in his 5 years at Alabama, this being year number 5, you can truly judge and evaluate Pete Golding because you've got veteran leadership in all 3 phases of the defense. The defense comes into this game healthy, coming out of fall camp, and you got pass rushers everywhere. You got speed rushers everywhere. So this defense got to send a statement early in the season, and what better way to do this than to come out firing against Utah State, showing the nation, hey, we mean business. Lost in the national championship game against Georgia, still got a bad taste in our mouths from that. We mean business now. So defense got to mean business. And so last but not least, here, key to victory, Bill O'Brien got to be creative yet balanced. Got to have fun with this offense, yet be balanced in this offense. What do I mean by that? Simple. You got to get guys involved. You got to be creative with Jahmyr Gibbs. You got to be creative with these wide receivers, these tight ends, these running backs. Got to be creative. Got to throw some different passes out there, some different calls out there. Got to be creative with Jalen Milroe, backup quarterback, sophomore from Texas, when he gets into the game, if he has the opportunity on tomorrow night. But also, you got to be balanced if you're Bill O'Brien. Trust the run game, too. You're down in the goal line, 1st and goal, 2nd and goal. Got to put the jumbo package in. Run the football. 2nd and short, 3rd and short. Trust the offensive line, Eric Wolford, run the football. Got to have a mixture of fun, creativity, and balance from OB. Got to have that. So if O'Brien can do that, that's a good first step to start the season. Having fun, being creative, showing that excitement, but also possessing the balance in the play calling, the balance in the scheme and in the strategy against here Utah State. So those be my keys to victory. Offensive line, got to show you about that business that you had improved. Defense, got to come out firing. There's a lot of conversation about this defense. It's got to come out firing. And for Bill O'Brien, creativity, fun, oh yeah, but balance with that as well. We go to our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting your chest warm upon our return. We go to the phone lines to grab your calls, your chats, your conversations. We got Bama football in just a few short hours tomorrow. We want to talk to you, the Bama Nation, right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, we're back into the action from the break on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. The eve of game day. Tomorrow, Bama takes on Utah State to open the season. 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa. SEC Network will have the call on the matchup. We're right here, hottest show on the streets, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, getting you set up for the season opener. We go to the phone lines right now to grab your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steven? It's your boy, Senator Hines, a.k.a. Coach Smoot, man. What's going on today, brother?
Doing good, my man. Tomorrow, Bama, Utah State. We're officially Jamison Williams days away tomorrow night. We get ready, baby. We are ready.
Man, look, Steven, I'm so ready, man. I'm a little under the weather today, but let me tell you, all day these Georgia fans been tagging me in these posts, all this crazy stuff. And I'm ready for the season to kick off. It's enough talk. It's enough expectation is or hype about this. I'm ready to see it on the field, Steven. And when I say excitement at a different level when it comes to this team, I think the level of focus can be felt through each and every interview, each and every video clip you watch, each and every tweet you see with these guys that are active on social media. Like, this is something that, like you've been saying for all offseason with these guys in these interviews since the spring game, it's giving you a feel of that 2020 group. And if we look at it on paper as far as just talent-wise, this team is way deeper and more talented than that 2020 group, if you think about it. And we have about the same amount of experience that came in with that 2020 group, too, that led us to the undefeated national championship during the COVID years. So I'm just excited, Steven. One of the keys to the game that I think we're going to winning, and just I know we're going to win, Steven. How we're going to win, I think, is going to be solely on play calling. A lot of people don't consider that when they talk about our team matching up against lesser talented teams or teams that we're supposed to handle. And I think it's going to be down to the play calling. Does Nick Saban allow Bill O'Brien to just does Bill O'Brien feel the need to just tap into every spectrum of what we have to offer this year, or do they focus on a strict game plan and expose what everyone saw was a weakness in Utah State, which was their run game? So do we only see 15 to 20 pass attempts from Bryce Young as compared to the average of 25 to 30 passes he was throwing last year? Might be something to look at. Does Utah State players with like Arkansas did last year with 3 high safety to make us take the underneath and, Though all those things have factors, so I'm excited to see how that is adjusted compared to last year, being that we have a full healthy lineup. And then another key is just execution, Steven. If we have more than 3 offensive penalties tomorrow, especially for the offensive line, false starts, holding penalties, I could understand holding penalties. You don't have the officials, you don't have game time refs in practice, so things get physical. Guys are just hitting on each other or trying not to hurt each other. So there's a lot of holding in practice in those trenches. But we should see things be clean tomorrow. That's that's the hope as a fan. You want it to be a clean game. And final thing, we have to understand that this year college football is so important to the legacy of Nick Saban. The thing is, Nick Saban has just signed an extension to 2030. We can really say Nick Saban's probably going to realistically be able to coach till 2028, 2029. If he makes it to 2030, awesome. If he doesn't, great. Greatest era of Alabama football under this coach. But we have to embrace these moments here. And these young guys, I feel like they are feeling that energy. That I feel like the alumni has really put the pressure back into Alabama football program. And when I say alumni, I mean the previous graduates that went through this process, that understand the grind. And a lot of those guys will come back and talk to these guys. So I see big things for Alabama football this season, Steven, and I can't wait to kick off tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be in front of the TV screaming and yelling, Roll Tide, and, man, I'm ready, Steven. But I appreciate you taking my call, man, and love you guys, man.
Absolutely. Senator Hines, a.k.a. Coach Smook, getting us started here on a Friday. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Well, Stephen, I'm back. I said I'd be back on Friday. I tell you, I'm ready to be down at Bryant-Denny Stadium there tomorrow night. Ready to see those lights still a little flickering and see the Alabama Crimson Tide put some points on the board there. See this offensive line look good. See the whole team look good. I tell you what, we had some good games last night there. I tell you, what do you think about some of them games last night? Interesting, huh?
I really enjoyed weighing in the West Virginia Pitt game. Good to see the backyard brawl return. That game had a crazy finish. I think it ended on a pick six. It was just good to see West Virginia and Pittsburgh back on TV together.
Yeah, it was good to see that game. And my brother-in-law, he passed away today, so he
Absolutely. Well, we understand it. We understand it. Our thoughts and condolences definitely go out to you and your family, my man. Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate it. And he loved Alabama football, and he's in a better place. So, y'all, I appreciate it. Yeah, do the show. Yeah, they all do the show tonight, and I'll listen in. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate weighing in, the president weighing in, calling in there. Definitely our thoughts and prayers out to weighing in and his family in the loss of his ex-brother-in-law right there. That one, you always got to support the family. You got to always support the family. But go back to something that Senator mentioned. It's just so much excitement for this game, so much excitement for the season. And I mentioned this before, it reminds me of 2020 just due to there hasn't been just a whole lot of talking. It hasn't been a whole lot of talking from the players. It hasn't been a whole lot of talking from the coaches. It's been a lot of focus. It's been a lot of the right energy in the room, the right mentality in the room, the right bunch of people in the leadership council in terms of players in the room. Just a lot of the right stuff. And I'm going to talk about this in the second segment because, Nick Saban's had a lot of talented teams at Alabama. He's had a lot of veteran teams. But he mentioned something Thursday night on Hey Coach that really got me. He mentioned something about this year's team last night on Hey Coach that made me stop and really dissect that thing. So we're gonna dive into that more in the second segment of conversation, but got a cool topic to get to, and that being one, Bryce Young, who has made his appearance on Nissan's Heisman House, baby. Bryce Young got his first video in the Nissan Heisman House, a great commercial right there where it features guys like Tim Tebow and Matt Leinart and Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, a lot of guys, Desmond Howard, a lot of guys featured in the Nissan Heisman House. So, Bryce Young was involved. First commercial, it was awesome, it was cool. Very funny right there. Had some chuckles right there. Young also got the NIL deal with Dr. Pepper, so he'll be in the 5th season of Fansville. So Bryce is juggling the football with some acting skills there. So it's pretty cool watching Bryce do that, and he's looking forward to taking the field tomorrow against Utah State, first game of the season. But we take a break right here, folks. Don't touch that down. When we come back, we discuss what Nick Saban said that's unique about this Alabama team. He mentioned it last night on Hey Coach. We'll talk about it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
And folks, we're back into the action here from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, on the eve of game day. Tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. We've got Bama versus Utah State. SEC Network will have the call from Tuscaloosa. Also, keep in mind, on tomorrow, after the game, we will have the post-game show, TDA post-game show through the Bama Standard, where you will have Mike McCoy, former Alabama wide receiver, 2009 BCS national champion, and Justin Riley of the Bama Standard taking your calls on the post-game show, streaming right here on the TDA YouTube channel following the game there. Gotta shout out my man Jimmy Clay with that $75 donation, taking care of the daily Super Chat goal by himself tonight. Dancing Stevens back. There he goes, getting down on the decks there with the khaki pants. My man Dancing Steven right there. But appreciate Jimmy Clay. We look at now, Nick Saban said something Thursday night. Now, I know he said the expletive about, people not needing to overlook Utah State just because it's not a marquee major opponent. You got to show Utah State that respect, which he's right there. So not referring to what he said there, but he talked about this year's Alabama team. And Saban said something unique about this year's group. I mean, he's coached some very talented teams. He's coached some veteran experienced teams. But he said something special here about this group. And with this group, Saban said, that we have more maturity with this group. More maturity on this team. This team has a lot of those intangibles that I like. I'm not saying, he mentioned that he's not saying that this is the most talented team he's ever had, because he wants to see how that goes about on the field. I mean, obviously there's talent on this team, but he wants to see how that talent takes shape on the field. But in terms of the mentality, the mindset, the togetherness, the we and not me, the maturity, and just the focus on this team, really likes all of that. Saban really loves all of that. And that, to me, had me go, this team can win a national championship because we've seen it all offseason long. Will Anderson, we're focused. No knuckleheads in the locker room. Nick Saban, no energy vampires on this team. It's all we and not me. Other guys have spoken on the togetherness and the chemistry and the connection and the continuity and the communication, and everybody is on the same page. Everybody is pulling in one direction. And when you have that, you have a team poised to be a national championship group. And like I mentioned, Saban's had some talented teams in years past. You look at that 2010 team. I mean, they were talented. Most talented team coming off a national championship. That 2010 team lost 3 games. Didn't win a national championship. That 2016 team, that was crazy talented, especially on defense. That team, unfortunately, did not win a national championship. You even look at that 2018 team. I mean, that team had talent. That was a joyless murder ball team with Tua Tagovailoa as the starting quarterback, 2018. That team, unfortunately, did not win a national championship. So we've seen talented teams, and with Nick Saban there, I mean, we've seen it. That 2013 team with A.J. McCarron in his final year as a quarterback, starting quarterback, that was a talented team. Did not win the national championship. We've even seen some really experienced teams for Alabama not quite getting to that championship. But then you have those teams that have won championships and they're on screen. That 2009 team, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2017, 2020. You want to know what all 6 of those teams had in common? They had the right amount of talent, experience, and maturity. Had the right amount of all 3 of those things. Had the right amount of young talent, had the right amount of experience, guys you can count on, leadership that you could depend upon, and they had the right amount of maturity. They knew what time it was. They knew it's about we and not me. They knew we got to dig deep together. 09 knew we got to dig deep together. We tasted the cake in 09. In 08, it was snatched from us. 09, we got to dig deeper. 2011, hey, 2010 got complacent. 11, we got to dig deeper. 2012, hey, we got to dig deeper. And continuing to build Tuscaloosa back from the tornado that happened in 2011. 2015, hey, we got to dig deeper. 2017, the same thing. 2020 and the COVID-shortened season, same thing. Those 6 national championship teams had the right amount of young talent, experience you can bank upon, and maturity. Everybody had that right mindset. I'm locked in. I don't give a flip. I'm locked in. Those teams were locked in. I look at this 2022 team. What's different about this team? They're locked in. They don't care what's being said. They're locked in. They saw the confetti not rain crimson and white in the national championship against Georgia. They have to look at the runner-up participation trophy in the team cafeteria. They're tired of looking at that thing. This group of guys, they are locked in. This was one of the more quieter off seasons I've ever seen in my coverage of Alabama football. Yes, you had Pete Golden with the DUI thing. Coach Saban talked to him. You heard nothing else about it since. Nothing else. Eli Ricks had his little speeding thing in Mississippi. Coach Saban sat him down, sat him straight, heard nothing else about it. This has been a very quiet offseason for the most part. Everybody's been focused. Everybody's been on cue. Everybody knows, hey, this is a team that can win a national championship. Nick Saban, I like the maturity we have. I like the leaders we have. We don't got no energy vampires on this team. Everybody's we, not I, not me, us, we. Now, I'm not saying this is our most talented team. We'll see. But I like the intangibles that we are bringing. Will Anderson, no knuckleheads in the locker room. We all in this together. We are all in this together. I'm looking forward to watching what this team does, starting off with Utah State, because going back to Thursday, when Coach Saban said, I like the maturity of this team, it got me thinking, we really got to watch this version of Alabama football. But we take another break here, folks. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we go back to you, grabbing your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. Line us up on a Friday. We got a football game tomorrow. We want to hear from you after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we're back into the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, lighting you up with the Bama football coverage. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We got a football game tomorrow. Your Crimson Tide taking on Utah State, Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff under the LED lighting feature. But we go to some super chats right now before we take your calls. We got Willie 351 returning with the magic sevens at 777 in the super chats from him. We got El Presidente Waylon with that 19.99 in the super chats. Appreciate the love they're coming from Waylon. And we got my man William Bryant dropping that $10 donation, the bucket, showing the love right there. So give it up for our guys, Willie 351, Waylon, and William Bryant, helping us out here on the show. So now we go to the phone lines. We grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. 205-448-1358. 205-448-1358. You are live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen M. This is Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's happening, brother?
Hey, man, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, you're the only Stephen Smith in sports worth listening to. Hey, man, this game, again, I know Nick Saban was upset that, we're all kind of overlooking it and focus more on Texas than this game. But, well, we watched them play UConn last weekend, so I'm sorry. We just can't take this team seriously as they're capable of beating Alabama. The only way they could have a chance is if Alabama's D game shows up and they play most of the game. And even then, they still win by 10. But I'm going to get some. It's really great seeing Bryce Young in the Heisman House. He'll be the first person still in college to ever be in the Heisman House in a commercial. Others come down the line later on, I'm sure, but Bryce will always be the first, so he's got there. But it was definitely great watching him with Devontae and Derrick Henry. That was a great commercial to watch. But yeah, I'm just looking for the game to watch see which poison Alabama decides to dish out on Utah State. Will it be the run game where they rush them for 300-400 yards? Or will it be the pass game where Bryce just lights them up for 300-400 yards? I think they really need to probably focus more on the pass, at least when Bryce is in there, to get him a feel for the receivers, because that only comes with reps. The run game can come, it's a lot easier to get to establish as long as the line blocks. But that pass game, it's the line blocking and getting timing with the receivers. So he definitely needs to get times with the receivers, get his time down with the receivers. So I definitely hope they focus, at least when Bryce is in, like the first half, to let him really light it up passing the ball and getting a feel for what the receivers can do, how they handle routes, their speed, with their quirks and their and that kind of thing, the way he did with Mechie and Jamison Williams. We definitely need to get that going really quick. Because when they go to Texas next weekend and they can't hear, then it'll be timing and instincts during that time. So definitely need to get that down pat. But it's just great to see the game, the college football is back. And I'm glad to see that they're really getting serious about expanding the playoff because it's 12 teams. I always hear people say that, well, it'll water down the regular season if they have the extended playoff, if they extend the playoff. The season is too short in football to ever get watered down. No matter how, if it has a 2014 playoff, the season football season is too short. Look, we're anxious for Alabama and Utah State. That's how starved we are for football right now. Expanding the playoff will not water down the regular season. I wish they would pay the players money if they want to expand the playoff. Now, that I think they need to do. You want to play these extra games, you pay them some money for doing it. But hopefully we'll see that coming soon, and they'll pay the players in the process. All right, man. It's great talking with you.
Absolutely. Appreciate Robert from Mobile with that call. And that's one of the biggest things Alabama fans are wondering. Does Alabama come out against Utah State establishing the ground game, letting the offensive line flex muscle some or a lot, or does it come out establishing the pass and having Bryce Young build that connection with this group of talented but unproven wide receivers when you look at Jamison Williams, John Mechie, and Slade Bolden all off to the next level? So you're dealing with Jermaine Burton, Trayshawn Holden, Christian Leary, Kobe Prentice, Tyler Harrell, different guys. So as much as I want to see the offensive line flex some muscle and run the football, I do also want to see Bryce Young get this camaraderie with these receivers. But we'll see how Bill O'Brien plays this. We'll take this call. Here you're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yes, I'm Chad. I'm calling from Madison, Alabama.
How we doing, man?
We're doing great. I watched this, they have this little, people on YouTube been doing a documentary about the 2015 coaching staff. So I wondered, in your opinion, what made that 2015 Alabama coaching staff so great?
What made that 2015 staff so great, Chad, was just the influx of characters on that staff, just all of the minds and all of the strategy that was on that staff. Of course, you got Nick Saban, who's the ultimate OG, but then you had Lane Kiffin, who was an offensive mastermind. You had Kirby Smart, who had grown to become a defensive mastermind under Nick Saban. Then you had, Mel Tucker, who you brought over from the NFL, that basically changed the entire secondary in 1 year and made that dynamic. You had Billy Napier on staff, who was really good as a wide receivers coach. I mean, there was just so many elite minds in the room at one time. And when you have that, you really couldn't fail. When you've got elite minds offensively, when you've got elite minds defensively, it's almost impossible to fail.
Question is for you, how you think Brian Daboll would do in the NFL?
Brian Daboll, I want to see, can he develop Daniel Jones? Because that's the biggest question for Daboll. He did a great job with Tua in his 1 year at Alabama. Daboll in Tuscaloosa 2017. When he got to the NFL with the Bills, he really developed Josh Allen. He was a bit of a wild quarterback, but was able to corral him and get him to play up to an MVP caliber level. I think Daboll can really develop Daniel Jones, but we will see if he can help that out there. But we appreciate Chad there from Madison, Alabama with that call. We grab this call. Here you're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? It's your boy Elijah from Jersey. How you feeling tonight, man?
Doing great, my man. We got football tomorrow at 6:30. Bama and Utah State.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how I feel about this game. Like, I'm so happy football is back. So happy Alabama football is back, man. But you know, I like to see those games to show us where we at. And I just feel this game isn't going to test us like that. You know, I understand what Coach Saban say. You can't overlook them. You want to play every opponent like they're a championship team and things like that. But I mean, when you Alabama and you playing a team like Utah State, our expectations are to beat this team down. You know, to wear them down. They shouldn't really be able to execute at all against us. You know, I'm looking at this game, and I'm trying to when I look at this game, I'm looking for how well is the offensive line communicating. I'm looking at it as how well is the defense communicating? Is the signals getting called correctly? Is everybody doing their assignment correctly? No mental mistakes and things like that. You know, I'm not looking at this game saying this is going to be a battle, this is going to be a struggle. I'm not really looking at this game in the aspect of when we get punched in the mouth, how are we going to respond? You know, because I really don't see this team, just on talent-wise, this team should not be able to do that to us. It shouldn't be no blow for blow, going back and forth. It should be straight, we dominate, and it's just how well are we executing? But let's keep it real, Steve. Utah State starters probably can't be third-string players on Alabama. Like, let's be honest, man. You know, our roster is way more loaded than them, and it is what it is. You know, I believe we could get more out of an 8A game than playing against them. The only difference with them is they wearing different jerseys and they less talented. But I just truly feel, Steve, that this game is going to see how we are mentally. It's not going to test us physically. I think next week now, that's a totally different ball game. I believe next week with that type of opponent, that type of caliber, running back offense that they do have, I believe that's going to tell us, okay, if somebody can go score for score with you, how do you respond? You know, I don't think Utah State can stop what we have. You know, if we put our second and third strings in there, we should be able to go up and down the field against them. But besides that, Steve, I want to talk about your boy. You know, I know you're a big Trey Sanders fan. And, you know, I'm looking at it saying, dude is basically a fourth-string running back. Again. You know what I'm saying, Steve? Again. And I'm not taking nothing away from him. I believe he hasn't come back fully from his injuries, even though he played pretty well at the end of last year when he was needed. I don't think this young man has a bright future left at Alabama, Steve. And I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but when you're talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, when you're talking about Jace, when you talk about Roy Dell's already in front of him, you know, then it's probably going to be him. What about these backs that's coming in next year? You know what I mean? These guys, it's going to be more competition for them. If Jahmyr leaves to the league, Jace could be there still. Roy Dell could be there still. Like, what do you, like, in this situation, I know fans always want to be mad when a kid hits that button and say, listen, I got to get out of here. But how can you be mad at this man if he did push that button? Because it's like, where is he going to fit in? How is his career going to go where it could get him to the next level? You know what I mean? Is it better for him to stay at Alabama and be a role player, or go somewhere else and become and have a chance at becoming the starter. Because if Jace don't go to the league this year, it's a good chance Jace is going to be the starting running back next year if Jahmyr Gibbs go. And then it's probably going to be Roy Dell. And then we got these two dynamic backs coming in next year. Like, what do you think, honestly, if you was Trey Sanders' dad, what would you tell your son in this position that he is in?
Trey Sanders' dad, Elijah, I would tell Trey, son, I know how much you love Alabama, but you might want to start looking at some other schools. If I was Trey Sanders' dad, that's what I would tell him. And I've always said this. This is probably the only time where I would say the athlete in question has no other choice but to look at the portal. And this is of no fault of Trey. It was just unfortunate injuries that happened, and he could not control that. Now, my hope is that he has, a good year this year in the role that he's going to be in. But at the same time, you bring it up, Elijah, you got Justice Haynes coming in here, who's a freak of nature back from the Georgia area. He's coming in next year. Then you got Richard Young, who's a 5-star. I mean, provided both of these two guys sign, and if they enroll early, they're going to be trying to compete for playing time with the backs that are already in Tuscaloosa. So if I was Trey's dad, I would look at Trey, do all that you can this season, go all out as hard as you can this season, but at the same time, start looking at some other schools.
And that's, that's what I was looking at. I'm looking at it honestly, man. Like, this kid, he has dreams. This young man got dreams of going to the next level. And the road just might not be through Alabama. You know what I mean? It's not saying that, he can't play at the next level. He's going to have to get the opportunity, Steve. And I just don't see him right now. He'll have to have a year like last year with Jace, Roydell, and these guys to get hurt for him to be the featured back. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I hate to see his kid transfer, but if you look at the kids and you want to do what's best for the individual, Bama might not be the school for him, man. Like, he's gonna probably have to go somewhere else where he can get a full year as a starter underneath his belt to go to the next level. But I appreciate you for taking this call, Steve.
Absolutely. Appreciate Elijah from Jersey calling in there. And he made a point about Utah State would test Alabama mentally, just due to everyone saying, Bama should run over Utah State. Utah State shouldn't be a problem, and I can see that. And the mental tests are sometimes harder than the physical tests, because we know physically the following week against Texas, when you're dealing with Big 12 school, heat, noon kickoff, all of those different elements, that will be the physical test. But sometimes the mental test, even though you're better than this team, you still have to go out there and show that consistently. So the mental test, sometimes, to me, just as big. But we grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide. It's your boy Chris from Ballard Sports Media. How about kickoff tomorrow, Steven?
Absolutely, Chris. Kickoff from Bryant Denny, Bama, Utah State under the LED lighting feature. And, some specific drinks will be rolling in there as that license to serve the alcohol was approved. So hopefully those students be jam-packed in there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And we start I don't even know if I want to call it this, but I was reading an article earlier, and I've seen this a lot, but is this year for Alabama, is it really a revenge tour? Are we really looking at Georgia right now saying we can't? I don't think that's the mindset of Coach Saban. I think it's national title or bust every single year. I don't think it matters who we play. I think personally it's going to be Alabama, Ohio State at the end of this year, and I think we're going to win it. But I don't know if it's necessarily a revenge tour, is it?
Didn't say revenge. I kind of look at it the way you look at it, Chris, as it's national championship or bust every year. Look, Georgia had a once-in-a-lifetime defense last year. Take nothing from it. They had a once-in-a-lifetime defense with Jordan Davis, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, Trayvon Walker. You can name the players down the line there. Once-in-a-lifetime defense. Kirby Smart now has to retool that defense, and that's going to be hard to do on top of retooling players he lost offensively. Now, they bring back Brock Bowers along with other tight ends, and that's cool right there. But Kirby's about to figure out how difficult it is to sustain at the top and to consistently retool and to consistently keep coaches. He lost Dan Lanning, who's now the head coach at Oregon, and that Georgia-Oregon matchup is going to be an intriguing one also. So I don't really think it's, Bama's trying to chase Georgia. It's the idea of it's national championship every year. That is the culture that Nick Saban has built at Alabama since 2009.
Yeah, and it's just so crazy that they're saying that this off season, and we're about 24 hours from the game tomorrow night to start out what could be another Alabama championship team. I don't remember that. Look, I don't remember them ever saying, like, go back to Jalen Hurts' freshman year in 2016. We lost with 1 second to go to Clemson. I don't remember the offseason it being a revenge tour to get back at Clemson. I don't remember after the 44-16 blowout. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it was more so like, is the dynasty over? There's always a narrative. But the narrative this offseason is it's a revenge tour. Look, Alabama doesn't need to seek revenge on anybody, okay? They just need to go out there, be who they are, focus on the process, as Coach Saban says. And if you challenge Alabama, if you got a shot and you upset them and beat them, congratulations. You're the victor. To the victor go the spoils, as they say. But I don't think that I mean, come on now. Now, we'll address it, as Will Anderson said, with a team like Texas A&M, and we'll address Georgia if it's Georgia that we face in the SEC title. But I don't really think there's a target on anybody's back this year other than, I guess there's always a target on the defending champs, right?
To me, Chris, I guess the reason why people are drumming up this revengeful thing is the fact that Saban failed to two of his former assistants in the same season. I think that's where this is coming from. I understand the loss to Clemson in the 2016 season, 2017 championship game. That was tough right there. And then the 44-16 loss to Clemson. Both of those two were difficult. But you look at Jimbo Fisher spent time with Nick Saban at LSU. They won a championship together in 2003 with the Tigers. And then Kirby Smart spent, 9-10 years under Nick Saban at Alabama from 2007 to 2015. So I think where a lot of this narrative is coming from, it's two of Nick Saban's guys beat him. And so he's got to get them back. So I feel like that's where the revengeful thing plays in, is the fact that it's two of his former guys that beat him. But appreciate Chris from Ballard Sports Media calling in there. Good conversation from him. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, Steve, this is Sam calling from Dallas. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Sam, and yourself?
I'm great. Just want to address, piggyback on a little bit what you were saying, Stephen. Let's clear the air here. When we say revenge tour for Bama, we're not necessarily talking about anybody, because everybody has a good point. When you talk Kirby Smart, you can say that. When you talking all these other guys, and he lost to two of his assistants in 1 year, that's not what revenge tour means. Revenge tour means we want to really have an undefeated season because we got an undefeated mentality. That's what that really means. That means we want to run the table. because we got a mark on our back every time we go out and play. Now, yeah, I don't see Georgia as being an opponent per se. I don't see anybody necessarily being an opponent per se. But when you say revenge tour, our goal every year is to run the table, to be dominant. That's why we throw up them foes. Why? Because in the fourth quarter, we say we're better conditioned than anybody in the country. We say sometimes you can put a pro team against us and we'll beat them. And there's been times when, to be honest with you, a lot of other people have said that too. Because if you ever seen Bama in person, they look like a pro team in drag. That's just fact, you know. So when you say we're getting ready to do what we do, that means run the table. That means all out. That means when Mac Jones was at the helm, that means we win every single time, every single quarter. So when you say revenge tour, we're saying all or bust. That's what that means. Thank you, Steve.
His thoughts here on the program. We take this call. Here you're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Oh, feeling great, man. This is Mattress Matt from Mobile.
Matt, what's happening, brother?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Life is good. All praise and glory to God. You ever heard of a sin of omission?
Yes, I have.
It's like if you don't do something, it's a sin.
Right.
Do you know of all the people that have been put in the running back position in the history of Alabama since the beginning of Alabama football, who has the most yards per carry?
Give it to me, Matt.
Christian Leary. I don't care I don't care that he hadn't been given the ball but a few times. I don't care. If somebody goes in there and they perform better than anybody in the history of Alabama football ever, then you have to continue giving him the football. So by not giving the ball to Christian Leary, Alabama is committing a sin of omission. And so if they continue to do this, you can talk about Jermaine Burton. You can talk about the other transfer from Louisville. You can talk about the quick new freshman, Kobe Prentice. You can talk about whoever you want to. But when somebody's been given the chance and they give them the chance and they perform better than anybody ever in the history of Alabama at 7.3 yards a carry for a few carries, but it doesn't matter. It's still a fact. So he's bigger. He's almost 200 pounds at 5'11". Even in the A-Day game, it took 3 or 4 people to bring him down. Even in other games during the New Mexico State game and the 1 or 2 carries he had during that, it takes 3 or 4 people to bring him down. Many people have to touch him before he comes down. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. He's never missed a pass. He's got stickier hands than anybody. He's faster than anybody. He's strong, he's stocky, and he's got the most speed of anybody on the team. So I don't know what's going on. And I'm not this guy that just gets hooked on, a player and becomes a crazed fan. I see somebody who's the best player on the team. He ought to be the number one starting receiver or starting running back, or the lead, or the number one go-to kick return man. I don't care. But if you have somebody that good and you don't play him, I still, to this day, don't know why. So I'll just leave you with that. Christian Leary. I'm tired of saying the name and then not having anybody listen to it. There's got to be some people of influence listening to this show. I want somebody to do something about this. You have a blessed night.
Absolutely. Mattress Matt calling in from Mobile. Christian Leary, the name right there. Saw him in the spring. 5 catches, 106 yards, a touchdown. Saw him in the spring. Looked very much improved. Me personally, I had him pegged as a starter in my book. Definitely one of the 3 wide receiver spots. But Coach Saban brings in extra competition. Why? to get the cream. Whoever's the real cream is going to rise. Whoever's the real cream is going to rise. Now, according to this depth chart that came out on Monday of this week, we all know this depth chart is subject to change because it's only week 1. The projected starters, Jermaine Burton, Kobe Prentice, Trayshawn Holden. That fourth receiver, interchangeably, Christian Leary and Tyler Harrell. That's the fourth guy, interchangeably. And this is all until, JoJo Earl comes back in October. But Christian Leary, Tyler Harrell, interchangeably, that's the fourth guy. And I want to see Leary more on the field myself. Whether it's at receiver, whether it's at running back, whether it's at kick returner, punt returner, I don't care. If he's saying, water, get your water, I want to see Christian Leary myself. Absolutely. We shall see how he goes about attacking here Saturday's matchup against Utah State. Appreciate Matt for that call there and all of you guys calling in. We got a cool topic right here, John. This one goes to OJ, the Juice Man Howard, former Alabama tight end, 2015 college football playoff national champion. He has signed with the new NFL team. The Houston Texans have picked up Mr. Howard. OJ got a Super Bowl ring in 2020 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, former first-round pick in the 2017 draft. And then after becoming a free agent from Tampa Bay, he went to Buffalo, where we all thought he was going to be there for a while. He was only there for 5 months. And then Buffalo decides to let him go. So they released him, which was kind of weird. And so then he had a visit with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm thinking the Bengals are going to pick up OJ. That didn't happen. So then he has signed with the Houston Texans. So good for OJ. He's in the AFC South, where he's going to go up against his former Alabama teammate Derrick King Henry, who is the highest paid running back in the NFL currently heading into this 2022 season. But we're going to go to our final break here on the show, folks. When we get back, everybody's favorite game returns. A new season of Lock or Drop is back. And we get to that to tidy up loose ends after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we're back, rocking and rolling in here, baby. TGIF edition of the show. It's Friday. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, the eve of game day. Tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. SEC Network on the call. We will have Bama, Utah State from Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Before we get into the final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for all of your swagger, sauce, drip, fashion, clothing, cultural needs, check us out right now. TDAwear.com. Do your shopping right there. Link in the description. Get your gear now. Tomorrow, you're going to be in the stadium or at home watching on TV, cheering on Bama. Get that gear right now. TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. Show us support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes and us here at TDA. Well, John, everybody's favorite game has returned. It's Locker Drop time, baby. What Locker Drop is, it is a 6-pack of questions on your Crimson Tide. We break it down, and if I'm feeling it, we gonna lock that sucker in. If I'm not feeling it, we're gonna drop it. So, lock or drop. You can also vote in the chat. For all of you fans playing Lock or Drop, you can vote in the chat line right now. John and I will be getting those results on screen for each question. So let's get into this thing. Lock or Drop, John. We're going to start this thing off with the Alabama defense here. So first thought will be the Alabama defense will pitch a shutout. It will shut out Utah State to open first game of the season, creating that statement. I like this defense for Alabama. I think Pete Golding has everything he needs now to finally show he's a big-time coordinator. For the first time in 5 years, you can truly judge him. You can truly evaluate him. He's got veteran leadership all across the board, pass rushers all across the board. He's got the monsters to get this done. But do I think Alabama's defense will shut out Utah State? Let's see what U.S. fans got going right now as my man John Ivory's got the poll up. Let's see here. Looks like the majority of guys are locking this in here as John is getting those results up on screen. But I like this defense. I think this defense has every opportunity to be special. We'll see if they shut down Utah State. But it looks like the mass majority of you guys are locking this. What's that, 60% there? And the mass majority of you guys are locking this. Well, the mass majority of you guys are dropping this, excuse me, at 60%. So the mass majority of you guys are dropping this. I'm going to join the majority of you who are dropping this. I'm dropping this also. As much as I want to see Alabama shut out Utah State, I'm dropping this. I think the final score is going to be 48-3. I think Utah State gets a field goal in that fourth quarter. I'm going to drop that also. So that I got Bama winning that one 48-3. Moving on, next thought here in the Locker Drop game. We go to the Alabama wide receiver room. Speaking of receivers, Trayshawn Holden was a starter this year at the Z position. Trayshawn Holden will be Alabama's leading receiver against Utah State. Trayshawn Holden will be Alabama's leading receiver against Utah State. Trayshawn's time has come. I mean, when he came in from California, the thought was, he was bigger than everybody, taller than everybody, faster than everybody. He thought that would instantly translate to college football in Alabama. It took Holden a while to get some things in order. He's now proven himself to Coach Saban, as the guy to start in this offense, to start in this rotation. Really like what Trayshawn Holden can bring, but it seems like 75% of you are dropping this and only 25% of you are locking this. You know what? I'm going to have some faith in my man Trey Day. I'm locking this all the way in on Trayshawn Holden. He'll be the leading receiver. Bold prediction, Trayshawn Holden will have 3 touchdowns against Utah State. He'll have 3. Bold prediction, he'll have 3. He and Bryce Young, roommates. He and Bryce Young have spent a lot of time together. Bryce Young talked about it. Trayshawn has become a leader, has become the guy in the wide receiver room. Holden, the final scrimmage, had 5 catches. I was told from close sources, had 3 touchdowns. Locking this in on Trayshawn. He'll be the leader receiver. Bold prediction, he'll have 3 touchdown receptions from Bryce Young against Utah State. Moving on down here. Third thing. In the Locker Drop, this goes to the Alabama running back room. And the question is, or the thought process is, Alabama will total 300-plus rushing yards against Utah State. Alabama will total 300-plus rushing yards against Utah State. This is the same Aggie team that gave up 245 yards rushing to UConn and over 6 yards per carry to the Huskies. So you look at this Alabama team, offensive line going to be greatly improved. Love Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's the real deal. Love Chase McClellan. Back from an injury. He's back to his old self. Love Rodell Williams. Trey Sanders will have a role in here, like what this team can do here, especially at the running back position. 70% of you are locking this on the running backs. I'm joining the 70%. Lock that puppy in, John Ivory. Running backs will have 300-plus yards. If UConn can get 245 against Utah State on an average of 6.3 yards per carry, Bama should get 300-plus there on the Aggies. I want to see this Alabama offensive line flex its muscle, impose its will up front. Love the running backs there getting that 300-plus yards rushing. Moving on here. Next off in lock or drop, we move this to Alabama's defensive secondary. A lot of hype around this secondary. A lot of excitement around this defensive backfield. Question for lock or drop is, Alabama's secondary will have at least one pick six against Utah State. Alabama's secondary will have at least one more pick six against Utah State. Will that happen? It's Bama secondary. And you guys as fans have been asking for more non-offensive touchdowns. Y'all been asking for more of these. Y'all been asking for more pick sixes. Y'all been asking for more big plays in the secondary. So do we get this here from this defensive secondary that's got a lot of veteran players back, including your two safeties, DeMarco Helms and Jordan Battle, both back as seniors? It looks like over 70% is locking this in on the Alabama secondary. John, I'm joining the 70+%. Lock that thing in on the Alabama secondary. I see at least one pick six. Bold prediction, it will come from DeMarco Helms. It will come from Hitman Helms. It'll be a tip ball. He'll be Johnny on the spot, get the pick, take it back for the house. It'll be DeMarco Helms doing that. So Alabama defensive secondary, do see the one pick six there. Moving on down to the next thought in lock or drop. We will stick with defense. We will move to the linebacker position, linebacker spot here. And so this thought, Henry To'o will lead Alabama in tackles versus Utah State. Henry To'o will lead Alabama in tackles against Utah State. Was the team was leading tackler a year ago with 113. Even though people have their thoughts about Henry T on is he physical enough, is he tough enough, is he dominant enough, he did lead the team with over 100 tackles at 113. Back now for a second year, a bit more comfortable in the defensive system. But the thought process, Henry To'o will lead Alabama in tackles against Utah State. It looks like more of you guys have dropped this. It looks like 57 or 67%. More of you guys have dropped this versus locking this. I'm dropping this one as well. No offense to Henry T, but I think Jalen Moody, weak side linebacker, will lead the team in tackles against Utah State. Moody's got a bit more thump, can stick his nose into stuff. I think Jalen Moody will actually be leading this team in tackles against Utah State, which takes us to our final thought here in lock or drop. This goes to the defensive line. We pick up true freshman Jaheim Otis. Will get his first big college football action against the Aggies. You as Bama fans have been waiting on who's the next dominant defensive lineman. We've seen Marcel Darius. We've seen Terrence Cody. We've seen Jesse Williams. We've seen Deron Payne. We've seen Quinnen Williams. We've seen Christian Barmore. Is Jaheim Otis the next one? And the thought for Jaheim Otis will get his first career sack against Utah State. He will get that sack dance going against Utah State, getting that first career sack. Will Jaheim Otis do this as a freshman? It looks like 94% of you have locked this in. Roll the dice on that, John. I'm locking it also at 94%. I think Jaheim Otis gets his first career sack. I don't know at what point will it come in the game, but I think he will end this game with the first career sack under his belt. He's worked hard. He's dropped the weight. He's got everybody talking about him. Big potential right here. Jaheim Otis, to me, will get that first sack of his career against Utah State. Well, that will do it. Lock or drop, 6-pack of questions breaking down your Crimson Tide for the season opener against Utah State. Appreciate you guys checking that out there, playing that game with John Ivory and myself. As always, Bama fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can check this out by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you covered. Got you covered right there. As always, folks, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be found there in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member or a subscriber today. Also, if you're trying to get the four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. Well, people, guess what? Your favorite thing returns tomorrow. You got the TDA Watch Party with John Ivory and Justin Smith. Get in the watch party. Have fun with us. Chat with us. Watch the game. Conversate the game. Have fun. 6 p.m. Central Time. Kick it off. Check out the watch party. TDA YouTube channel. It's starting at 6 Central Time. You can check that out. Also, check out the post-game show tomorrow, immediately following the game. Post-game show tomorrow. You got Justin Riley at the Bama Standard taking calls with Mike McCoy, former Alabama wide receiver, 2009 BCS national champion, and the founder of Maximum Performance Training out of Bessemer. It is a call-in show. The post-game watch party call-in show. You can call in, get your thoughts, let your voice be known, have your opinions. John Ivory, Justin Smith, excited to host all of you. I'll be calling in as well, giving updates there throughout the game. But gotta shout out you guys, the outstanding fans of Bama football, for all the love, all the calls, all the conversation, all of the super chats, making this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Gotta also appreciate my man John Ivory in the production studio, doing his thing behind the scenes, making this show what it is. Until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Sure to continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored as the weekend is in here. You get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. Enjoy the Bama football tomorrow and college football also week 1. And you've been listening to In My Own Words.